Hello and welcome to the Duluth News Tribune's Bulldog Insider podcast. I'm your host, Matt Wellens, the Bulldogs hockey beat reporter at the News Tribune. Zach is off on assignment this week doing his day job at Grandma's Marathon. We're 100% though in postseason mode now. The Bulldogs men are at Arizona State this weekend for a best-of-3 NCHC quarterfinal series that starts Friday in Tempe. The UMD women are headed back to the NCAA tournament for a fifth consecutive season. They take on Sacred Heart at 6 p.m. Thursday in Ithaca, New York on the campus of Cornell University. That'll be tonight if you're listening to this podcast the day it comes out. The winner of that game will play Cornell at 3 p.m. on Saturday. All those times are Central. We're recording this episode on Monday because on Tuesday, our guest is off to upstate New York. This guest had a pretty sweet goal Friday in the WCHA final face-off at Amsoil Arena, though your celly kind of got derailed a little bit there.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast, Grace Sadura. Welcome, Grace.
Thank you so much for having me.
You want to explain what happened on the celly there? Because you have some pretty good cellies. I'd say you're towards the top of the team on the emotion and getting into it and everything. Your cellies are pure emotion. They're not like choreographed or anything.
Oh, absolutely. It's just passion.
It's just passion. They're not choreographed, right? Like you're just going with the passion.
No, it's just
not like the high school, not like the high school state tournaments where those are definitely that's a parade of choreographed cellies.
Yeah.
So did you trip on Ida Carlson there, or did she trip you? Like, who takes responsibility for that?
I think that her and I will probably be having this debate for a little bit, but I think I kind of got up in a wide stance where my skate just hit her skate. I think she was just excited and just trying to get out of the way, I think, and we just ended up hitting skates, but I think that just makes it better, honestly. It was just so much emotion in that play, and we were all really excited for that.
I was gonna say you made the right move on the goal there, getting around the Badger. But hey, if you make the mistake, make it on the celly rather than the goal, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Grace, postseason time. I mentioned it's the fifth straight NCAA tournament for the Bulldogs. It's your second now in 2 seasons. What is it that makes this time of year special for you? Like, what stood out about last year's experience at Ohio State?
I think it's just always an honor playing in any kind of playoffs. I think that there's such a rich history in the program, and they've been able to do back to back to back to back to back. And it's just great to be a part of that, honestly, and just learn from last year and, take that experience into this year. It's a really exciting time for me and the team. So just pumped for it.
Just pumped.
Pumped.
Yeah. Are you excited? Almost every other year. The last time was 2021 that the Bulldogs didn't play a WCHA team or didn't have to go through a WCHA team to possibly get to the Frozen Four. That was Erie. They played Colgate and then saw Northeastern in the Frozen Four. Thoughts on going out to Cornell instead of maybe to Columbus like last year, or Minnesota could have been a possibility this time. I had the Gophers beating the Badgers on Saturday. That's where you'd be this week.
Yeah. I think we kind of just have the same mindset towards everything. Obviously, the WCHA is an incredible league, and I think it'd be cool that hopefully there's a chance that there could be 4 teams there. I think we just have to stick to our game plan. We just have to hold each other tight and just keep grinding, because it's a long season, and we're just at the end of it, and we're ready to go. So
yeah, I saw one Eastern hockey fan say it's the apocalypse scenario is 4 WCHA teams in the Frozen Four. Out west, we'd call that the dream scenario.
Yeah, we would call that ideal.
Ideal. There you go.
Yeah,
that's 4 best teams in the Frozen Four. That's what you want. Heading out to Ithaca, New York. And so I'm going to rewind to a question we posed previously on this podcast a few episodes back with Clara Van Weeren and Nina Jope Smith. Clara once said on this podcast, I believe it was her freshman year, maybe, I forget which season, she said, even when we went to Harvard on the plane, I would rather bus the 23 hours personally. So which would you prefer this week? Charter flight or charter bus to get to Ithaca?
I mean, it's always cool going charter flights. I would say probably that, just because it will be easier on the legs, not sitting on the bus for so many hours. And yeah, I think it's always a cool experience to do that with your teammates. And those are the kind of memories that you'll take for a lifetime. So I'd have to go with charter flight on this one, but I I respect Clara's opinion with that.
Are you typically a plane person over bus?
It kind of depends on where we're going. Like, I wouldn't mind like busing to Ohio maybe, just because like I said, like those memories with your teammates. Having a long bus ride would be pretty fun, but I think just for the body, I think that flying is probably
23 hours is a lot.
Yeah.
And it also makes a difference charter versus commercial. Like when I went to Ithaca a few years ago. I unfortunately will not be making this trip this week, but when I went with the men a couple of years ago, I had to like hop between multiple airports flying commercial. The charter plane is nice, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. I think it's nice to just get on, get off, just like straight there. So
yeah, no running through airports to make connections or anything like that. Grace, take us through your path to UMD. Your hometown's listed as Chanhassen, but you played in Minnetonka?
Yeah, so I'm basically like right on the border of Excelsior and Chanhassen.
Oh, okay.
And so I guess you could say Excelsior, you could say Minnetonka, you could say Chan, but I went through Minnetonka schools all the way since I moved here from Brooklyn Park. So I've been going to Minnetonka school since I was in, I think it was first grade. So yeah, we can say Minnetonka.
You can say Minnetonka,
yeah.
And that's what you like to claim as can say that as your own. Take me through the path from Minnetonka. You played a couple of years with Hannah Baskin in high school. Take us through your path, how you were recruited to UMD and such.
Yeah, so when I was in middle school, I guess I didn't really know a whole lot about college hockey. I wasn't really exposed to it. Like I'm the first person to ever play hockey in my family. And so I didn't really have an understanding of what it was, how it worked. But I think that when I got to high school, I started seeing like a lot of the big name commits like Lacey Martin, Rory Gilday. Those were kind of my teammates, as well as like Hannah Baskin was going to UMD. And so they changed the recruiting rule. When I was in 8th grade, I got a phone call from UMD. And it was like a couple days, I think, before the rule change. And it was just like, hey, we're here. We like you. And so, yeah, that kind of planted the seed in my head. And
who was the coach that called
it was
you?
Lou. It was Laura
Lou?
Bellamy.
Laura Bellamy making a smart recruiting decision right there.
Yep.
Let's sneak in a call to this player before I'm not allowed to.
Yep. So then
good thinking, Lou.
Yeah. Shout out Lou.
Yeah, shout out Lou.
Uh-huh.
Not that we ever shout out Lou on this podcast, but yeah, shout out to Lou.
Mm-hmm. And so then the rule changed. June 15th came around of my recruiting year, and UMD was the first to call again. And so that I kind of just knew like they value me as a player, as a person. And so obviously, like I looked at other options, but I always kind of knew that this was the right fit for me. It's not too far, not too close from home. Scenery is beautiful. Coaches are exceptional, just amazing. And I've heard so much from Hannah, like the culture, just the compete of the program. I always kind of knew that this was where I wanted to be.
Was it Lou that gave you a call again when it was okay again?
It was like a Zoom call with all the coaches.
All of them? Okay.
Yeah, and so I had talked to them before, and it was nice to have that call with all of them.
Did you get a lot of calls? Did you get calls from any other schools right before that deadline?
Before, like when I was in 8th grade?
Yeah, when you were in 8th grade.
I had a couple.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but UMD just always stuck out to me because they were just right on it.
So what other schools were you looking at, and then why ultimately did you choose the Bulldogs? Yeah,
I was looking WCHA mostly. Obviously Minnesota kid, like looked at that campus. I looked a little bit out east. I really wanted to go to an Ivy just for like the education part, but ultimately I just decided that I want to be playing really competitive hockey, and UMD does that year after year. And I just, I had heard so much from Hannah again, where it's just like, she's like, dude, you gotta come here. Like, the culture is like unbelievable. Like, words can't even describe it now. It's just, the culture here is phenomenal. And so ultimately that was the decider. Competitive program, great culture, amazing coaches, and the facilities, not to mention, are just mind-blowing. So that was kind of it for me.
Was Hannah Baskin cool in high school? Tell us about Hannah Baskin in high school.
Yeah, she was cool in high school. I was a freshman and she was a junior, and she used to have a yellow Jeep. a really cool car, and she'd pick me up in it sometimes. And, we just had a bond. She's been there for me in so many situations of my life. And yeah, I would say she's pretty cool in high school. She's even cooler now, honestly.
Cooler now. Well, I think everyone gets cooler
yeah.
after high school. Like that's ultimately what you're trying to do here.
Yeah.
If you get less cool after high school, sorry to those people. But you know, yeah. How was what you were told in the recruiting process? How is that compared to what you've experienced so far in your 2 seasons at UMD?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's been pretty similar. They preach about the hard work that it takes to be a UMD women's hockey player. I mean, it's a lot of hard work. The coaches kind of said, like, we care about you as a person, and obviously we care about your on-ice development and that kind of thing. But they told us how we put people first, and that's really been the same ever since I've gotten here. They've always just cared about you as a person, and yeah, it's been pretty much the same. So no surprises here.
What was your recruiting? You took a recruiting visit here to UMD?
I did.
What was that whole experience like?
I think, I don't live too far away from here. It's like 2.5 hours. My mom, dad, and I think my sister was here too. We came up. Hannah was my host, showed me around some of the houses, got to meet some of the players, got to watch practice. And I remember this was actually one of the turning points. I went to a practice out east, and then I went to a practice here, and I was like, whoa, like, it's just, the level of hockey is just so much different, and I was like, I want to be here. And so my recruiting visit was also really good, just coming up to Duluth. I'd always come up to Duluth for, like, icebreakers tournaments, but I got to kind of see an insider look on it, how the student-athletes have a day-to-day life, and that was pretty much it.
How many recruiting visits did you take overall? I believe there were still limits on the number of recruiting visits kids could take back in your day.
I want to say like 4 or 5 official ones.
Okay.
Did kind of I went on my own, and just kind of looked at the schools.
Yeah.
But I would say I think it was 4 or 5. I couldn't tell you the exact number, but.
Besides the practice, the level of practice, and we've heard that from some players who have transferred into UMD that the practice and everything here, the preparation seems to be at another level than maybe where they came from. What else kind of stood out to you on those visits, like a difference between UMD and some of those schools?
Ooh, I think I just want to circle back to the culture again, just the way that the girls are, and just going to hang out with them, seeing how they interact with each other. There's just a different level of family here. And, once you're a Bulldog, you're always going to be a Bulldog. And I think that aspect of family really drew me in, just because I'm kind of a, what do you call it? I'm kind of a family person. I'm a homebody. I like to be surrounded by people that I like and I love. So that was another aspect that really stood out to me.
We've asked a lot of the seniors and even some of the freshmen about the coaching change this summer from Maura Kroll to Laura Schuler. What was that like for you, a player who was going from their freshman to sophomore year? That's still was already here at UMD, but early in their career.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a little bit of a shock at first. I wasn't expecting it too much. I thought I was going to be playing kind of for coach the whole time. But when I knew that it was going to be Shu, I'm like, let's go, let's rock. Shu's amazing. She was a coach obviously last year too as an assistant, and just her hockey sense is otherworldly. She's super smart, very knowledgeable in the game. So I was just really excited. New faces, kind of just a new start for our team, and it's been really good so far.
Laura Bellamy was that first coach that made contact with you and such. Was that kind of your main contact in the recruiting process, or was it Maura Kroll? A lot of times we see, each coach does things differently, but from what I understood from Maura's was Laura Bellamy was the recruiting director. That was Maura's excuse one year why Lou got to go to Sweden for an event and not her. But sometimes they let an assistant put it on. Lou was gone to Harvard by the time you got here. Who's the coach you worked the most with before coming here to UMD?
I'd say it was mostly Lou still. She left the summer before I came in, so I was on that Zoom call and stuff. It was mostly Lou. Shu would come to a lot of games too, so I had already kind of built that relationship with her, talking to her after games. And Coach Kroll would send texts too. I'd have occasional phone calls with her. So it was kind of like, I would talk to all of them, but I would say mostly it was Lou.
What stood out to you about Shu, whether it was before you got here to UMD and then since you've gotten here?
I think it's just her enthusiasm for life, like her ability to just take a group of girls and bring them together. She's always so excited for anything in life. She asks about you as a person too, which is really important. I think that she really cares about how you're doing outside of hockey too. So she would always ask me how I'm doing, how life's going. Just those kind of things kind of stood out to me about her. And she's just so full of life, so energetic, and just really brings the mood up everywhere she goes.
Is Shu, the head coach, very different from Shu, the assistant coach?
I mean, in some ways, more like logistically, I'd say with like video and stuff, like she was really like big into video last year, and she still does it, but I think it's not as much as it was last year, but she's still the same Shu and still has like swag about her and stuff. So I would say that like it's not really, it's Shu, and she's our head coach and we love her.
How reassuring was it this summer? You said it was shock when Maura was heading to Dartmouth. How reassuring was it to have teammates on that selection committee and keeping you guys informed, and also, you know, making sure that the player's voice was heard in that process?
Oh yeah, I mean it was everything, because you know that those girls have the team in mind and they have everybody's best interests in mind. They're experienced, they've been in the program for years, and they know kind of what to expect with that. So I think that, all of us like had trust in them, you know, kind of like do your thing. You guys know the best. So that was kind of the mindset towards that.
So on Sunday at the selection show, I solicited some questions from your teammates for the podcast this week.
Great.
Zach's not here, and I'm like, I'm going to help get some questions from teammates. Yeah, I can get fan questions on social media, but let's get questions from the people that really know Grace.
All right.
Grace Sadura here. So in addition to you answering these questions, I'm going to see if you can guess who asked the question.
Oh, okay.
No one tipped you off that I was like
no,
digging
I had
for
no
info on
idea
you?
you were going to do this.
Good. These were good sources that I went to for this podcast here. All right, first question that was submitted from your teammates. Who is the funniest person on your team that lives with you?
Ev.
That was an Ev.
She's got to ask that question too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, my answer is Ev.
Your answer is Ev. Ev's the funniest.
And yeah, she's hilarious.
And she's the one who asked it as well. What about her is hilarious?
She's got good humor. She uses sarcasm, and I don't really get sarcasm like a lot of the time, which kind of makes it more funny when I find out that she's being sarcastic. But yeah, her and I have the same humor.
Is it harder too because it's French Canadian sarcasm?
I mean, maybe a bit. There's sometimes there's a bit of a language barrier, but I think that, you know, we get the point.
You get the point?
Yeah.
Who is, if we take out originally she asked the question, who's the funniest person on the team? Mm-hmm. Then I think she wanted herself to be the answer for this, because then she added that lives with you. So who's the funniest person on the team that doesn't live with you?
So I can't say Ev anymore?
No, I'm gonna have you give us another person.
Gosh, Nina's funny, Clara's funny, Hannah's funny, Devin's really funny. There's a lot of really funny people on our team I like to make jokes with. So I would say, Tindra's funny. I could go on and on. Kramer's hilarious. There's a lot of players that got good humor. So
how many of them are intentionally hilarious and unintentionally hilarious, you think?
I'd say half.
Half
Some
and
of
half.
them are like unintentionally hilarious, and then sometimes they use intentional humor. So then I'm like, whoa. But I would say that it's a pretty good mix up.
So Ev's one of your roommates this year. Who else are you living with this year on the team?
I'm living with Peyton Holloway and Ida Carlson.
Okay.
Yep.
Was that who all lived together? Did you guys all live together in Oakland last year too, or who
No.
were you all living with in Oakland?
In Oakland, it was me, Ev, Peyton. Yeah, me, Ev, Peyton, and then another girl who transferred.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who's the funniest coach?
This is a really good question. I'd say that they're all funny in their own ways. I'd have to say that Liv's pretty funny.
Liv's
Coach
pretty
Liv's.
funny?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she's funny. Brick's funny too, and Shu, but I'd say probably Liv.
Yeah, I hear the funniest thing about Shu is when she leaves her roller skate guards on.
Yeah.
Which I didn't get that. I thought it was really odd at first when it's like, oh, Shu keeps forgetting to take her skate guards off and go on the ice. I didn't realize they were the roller ones until she literally rolled into the press conference one week wearing those, which it was like, well, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen a hockey coach do, coming to a press conference, literally roll in.
Yeah.
And then it dawned on me like, oh, I get it now, how she forgets to take them off and then
yeah, I mean, it's like she's already skating, so why do you got to take them off?
Right.
No,
right.
those things are so cool.
Yeah. Next teammate question. What do you have next in line for your tattoos?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I've got some on like my right hand that like my right arm's like my interest side, my left arm's my family side. So I'm thinking about expanding on the right arm and just tying them together. My mom, if you're listening to this, I'm not getting any more tattoos. This is just hypothetical, but I would think to expand and tie them all together somehow. Not really sure quite yet.
Is mom not a fan of the tattoos because of the tattoos or because of the money you spend on the tattoos?
I probably both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I just want to make her happy.
Just want to make her happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you have a tattoo of for your mom?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there. Like, look, that's cool, mom. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you're in there. So
Exactly. That's what I
They're
said to her. I'm like,
meaningful
Mom, I got you a tattoo.
Can you guess who asked that question?
I mean, it's a toss-up. It could be a Clara or a Nina, but then it could also be like a Kramer. I don't know.
I'm going to try and keep a poker face here.
Can you tell me if it's one of those three?
It is one of those three.
Okay. Is it Nina?
Close. It's Clara.
Okay, it's Clara.
That was a Clara question.
Okay, yeah.
All right, next one. What's your favorite meal to cook?
Well, whoever asked this probably knows the answer. I really like good rice, ground turkey, and some veggies. Just mix that all into a bowl. It's really simple, but recently we've been doing a lot of sheet pans. Like we've been turning on the oven and doing like a whole variety of veggies. Mm-hmm. So I would say that probably.
The food you're describing, pretty healthy now. How does that compare to what you were eating before you came to UMD?
I mean, I kind of got I started eating like decent in high school. But when it got here, like I just kind of took it upon myself. I was like, I just want to be fueling myself in the right way. But yeah, I mean, in high school, I probably had like cereal for breakfast and stuff, or a cereal for dinner and stuff like that. So yeah, I wouldn't be doing that nowadays.
Who do you think asked that question?
I have no idea. Let's just go with like Kramer.
That was Nina.
Okay.
Is that not a left field? That's not who you expected to ask that one?
No. I mean, I don't know.
Nina as a frequent guest of this podcast probably was just like, I'm going to give Matt a good question that we ask. Cooking is a subject on here. We often ask, and I'll ask this: who on the team is like the best cook? Who's like making the best food? Who do you not want anywhere near the kitchen?
I mean, just kind of like the older girls who have been here. They've had a lot of time to get their craft down. So I'd say Hannah's a pretty good cook. Clara makes some mean soup, really good soup. Nina's good too.
Clara and Nina had no choice when they got here as freshmen. Mm-hmm. They had to learn how to cook because there was no I'm pretty sure the cafeteria and stuff or dining hall or whatever on campus was closed during the pandemic. So their class had no. That's when we kind of got on this podcast, the cooking thing, because there are some players that struggled that freshman year having to learn how to cook.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of a universal freshman experience.
Yeah.
Who I didn't want around the kitchen. I mean, probably the freshmen.
Yeah.
Just because of it's your first year living on your own. But yeah, I mean, shout out Anna. She's been doing a lot better, been cooking a lot of meals, but I would maybe say her last year. But
last year was
other than
tough,
that, I would trust everybody.
Everybody?
Yeah,
okay.
I would trust everybody.
The last one's not really a question. It was more of like a demand. It's actually a pet peeve in journalism when they do the talk about. So this person, talk about your Fortnite skills. Tell us about your gaming skills.
I mean, I've always kind of been a little gamer, like ever since I was young, playing Minecraft, or like it's kind of just what I grew up with. Like I grew up with like a lot of family friends, and we were always playing Minecraft together. But I think Fortnite really picked up for me like towards the end of middle school. So I like played a lot of Fortnite, and then got to high school, kind of dropped off, and then when the pandemic hit, like there was really no other choice. Like, yeah, I can't shoot pucks all day in my garage, so I'm going to play some Fortnite. But I would say that I'm a pretty good Fortnite player. Like,
yeah,
if I'm on the team, we're probably going to get top 10 at least.
There you go.
Yeah, so.
I think Fortnite's come up. Wyatt, correct me if I'm mixing up video games here. I believe Fortnite came up. There's members of the, Wyatt's giving me the thumbs up here. I should know these things with a 6-year-old, but I'm an old school gamer like Mario and Madden and all that stuff, or any Star Wars game.
I do like the Star Wars games too. Those are good.
I don't have all I have are Switches in my house right now. Again, kids. Switches are great for kids, but we've heard from the freshmen of the men's hockey team that's a big Fortnite group over in Oakland right now. Have you been challenging any of them?
I have not
gone up against any of them.
No, I didn't know that, but I mean, after you tell me, maybe I'll ask them if they want to squat up or something. I'm always down. So
yeah, I believe the Plant brothers of course are into it, and yeah, I think it's that house that's appeared on this podcast, Arnott and Shakabe and them.
I can't remember if it's Zam or Max that's the more avid. There was a moment of contention because like one of them plays a lot more than the rest.
I think Max,
and that's where like, the scoreboard gets a little skewed because one's only playing Fortnite.
Max was injured, so he got a little, I think, extra time in there, but Zam is competitive at everything and anything. So I don't know, it seems like a freshman thing that you're going to do. You're going to come to college and someone brings a game console.
I mean, I haven't played Fortnite in probably like months.
Really?
Honestly,
Okay.
I mean, with the season, it's been like I haven't played a lot, but I have to. If we're on the subject of Fortnite, I have to shout out Hannah because she's my duo partner.
Okay.
If I'm playing Fortnite, it's probably with Hannah, and she's Clap Bomb 6. That's her. That's her name.
Okay. What's your name if people want to challenge you on Fortnite?
It's Icy Sniper 2005. So her and I play together. We've been playing together honestly for like 4 years. So that's just kind of been it.
Who do you think asked this question?
Yeah, could it be Hannah?
It's Hannah.
Yeah, it's got to be Hannah.
Yeah. All right, some quick hits here. I don't know what the demographic of our podcast is. If there's huge gamer fans, if people want to hear hockey players talk more about video games, please let us know. I might have to bring Grace on to host those episodes because I can just talk about Mario and Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
but I can chime in more with video games.
You can chime in more with video games. Yeah.
I know more about that than fishing and all that stuff.
Yeah, the fishing and outdoors. Not great with that either. All right, some quick hits to close this out here. Grace, who has the best nickname on the team?
Crames, probably.
Crames?
Just Crames, Cream. There's a lot of them.
A lot of them? Mm-hmm. Okay. Who's the best at coming up with nicknames on the team?
I gotta say myself.
Yourself?
I've had a few nicknames that I've said that have stuck. Also, Clara. We were actually debating about this a couple weeks ago. Who was better at making nicknames? So I'd say myself or Clara.
Which nickname are you especially proud of?
Maybe Devin. It's Dale.
Dale?
Dale.
Dale.
It's like it's not even Dale. It's just Dale.
It's a sound.
It's like it's a sound.
Okay.
So a lot of girls have been picking up on that for Devin, and it's funny. It's just random, and that's probably that one.
Yeah. Feels good then when everyone else starts using it too. You feel like
That's like the best part when you make nicknames, when other people start picking up on it.
Lowry liked that nickname as well.
What's that?
Lowry liked that nickname as well.
Yeah, I think I think Jenna Lowry also picked that one when we asked that question.
Okay, yeah.
I think she was. So that has gotten on the podcast before.
Oh, wow.
But I don't think she pronounced it like it. Say it again one more time.
Dale.
Yeah. See, I think she just said Dale.
Yeah, it sounded more like Dale when
they-
she said, but then she corrected herself saying that it's more like a sound. I'm not doing it right.
Yeah, she knew she was still working on the sound on that one. As a freshman, who were you the most scared of and why?
Probably Clara.
Clara?
Just because she's just, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, she's just really hardworking in what she does, and she stands up for what she believes in and stuff. So, but yeah. But now I'm like, I don't know why I was scared of her, because now she's one of my good buddies. So, yeah, I would say probably Clara.
Would you want to be the player that people are scared of when they get here at UMD? Because Clara seemed actually surprised. She was like surprised when we asked her, why is everyone scared of you? Because I noticed on the one reel that everyone kept saying Clara. At least the newer players. Clara's generation was saying Anna Klein. Would you be okay being that player that everyone's scared of?
I would.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like it's a badge of honor when everyone's talked about it, like you just said of Clara there, because she's so hardworking. It's a player you don't want to disappoint.
Absolutely. You said it perfectly.
Most likely on the team to end up on a reality TV show.
Ooh, Cammy maybe. I think Cammy, or I think MK could actually end up doing it too.
MK.
So I'd say maybe MK, Cammy. Yeah, I'll go with MK and Cammy.
MK because of her recent TikTok stardom, or her up and coming TikTok career.
Yeah, I would say that.
Okay. Most likely to win Jeopardy.
Nina, probably.
Nina? She's like the trivia buff on the team? Or just...
Yeah, she's really smart. I'd say Nina. I mean, if there's like a theme of Jeopardy of like certain topics, some other girls could be pretty good at it, but I would say Nina.
Most likely to become a Fortune 500 CEO.
Jenna, probably.
Okay. Most likely to run for political office.
Clara. Yeah.
Does she win or lose?
She wins.
She wins. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Who runs for political office but probably loses?
I don't know. Everybody on our team's really likable. I'll say myself.
Yeah.
I'll say myself for that one.
You wouldn't do well in an election, you think?
I think it could go either way. I think it could go either way.
Either way.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could eat at one restaurant once a week for an entire year, the whole, eat at a restaurant for a year promotion that gets out there, what would it be?
Probably Crisp and Green. Crisp and Green or Hanabi in downtown Duluth. So good. Great sushi.
Okay. I'm a big Crisp and Green fan. Since having to change the diet, that's now Crisp and Green is a go-to for me.
It's unreal.
Yeah. Last one. When your hockey career finally does come to an end someday, what do you want to do with the rest of your life?
Oh, I kind of have a whole plan, honestly. I want to play professional hockey, and then I want to go to the FBI, actually. So my grandpa, he was an FBI agent, so I've kind of just done a lot of research there. My mom's told me stories. And this might be a crazy bomb to drop, but I actually speak fluent Chinese.
Wow.
So I would hopefully use that somehow. Yeah, just doing stuff like that.
When did you learn fluent Chinese?
I lived in China, actually, for 3 years when I was 2 to 5. So I was kind of learning language at that time. So I went to a school that would teach 1 day of Chinese and 1 day of English.
Oh, cool.
So I learned Chinese and English there. And then I went to immersion school in Minnetonka and just kept learning Chinese and stuck with it. Now I'm getting a minor in it too. So
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you majoring in? You're minoring in Chinese. What are you majoring in?
Psych.
Yep. Okay. Which seems like a good major for going into the criminal justice field.
Yeah. So that's my plan.
Cool.
But I want to play hockey as long as I can.
You're going to play hockey for a while before starting your FBI career.
Yeah.
Unless you're an undercover FBI agent playing hockey.
That would be crazy. that would be wild.
That's a TV show right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that movie writes itself.
You're right. All right, Grace. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast this week. We're for sure going to bring you back on later on in your career here, even if you are an undercover FBI agent.
All right. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
The Bulldog Insider Podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Like us, subscribe, and rate us. For more Bulldogs hockey coverage, visit DuluthNewsTribune.com/Bulldog Insider. Subscribe to gain access to all of our coverage all season long. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you next week.